Hi, welcome to Inside the Sound Chamber. This is Don Simmons. Got a wonderful guest today. We just had a great conversation. And Stephanie Heidemann is truly a healer. This is really an amazing thing. I've got a great story that I'll tell you about later. Let me tell you a little bit about who Stephanie Heidemann is, though. She's a professional singer and a licensed massage therapist for 23 years or more. She integrates healing arts together with her unique modality, authentic voice work. Stephanie has a BA degree in expressive arts therapy from Indiana University, was mentored by development movement analyst Fanshawn Shore, and later studied classical voice techniques with New York Metropolitan Opera mezzo-soprano Brenda Boozer. She toured nationally with world music folk a cappella quartet Vita, and Vita went through many universities, sang with music festival circuits, and was on the cover of Billboard magazine. And I got to tell you, that's quite a feat right there. I'm very impressed with that. She explored improvisational singing extensively with rhythm theorist, percussionist Julian Douglas, and later compiled many recordings together with film soundtrack works with filmmaker David Gittins. Her CD, The Cantiga Project, was highlighted on NPR's All Songs Considered and was artist in residence at the, that soundtrack was also included in the Sounds True CD, Songs of Mary. In 2011, Stephanie was awarded the Ringling Tower Award for Performing Arts and Artist in Residency at the Hermitage Artist Retreat in, I believe, Sarasota. Is that correct? Excellent. She presented workshops on authentic voice work in many places, including the International Expressive Arts Therapy Association conference in Lima, Peru in 2012. She also presented programs in Stockholm, Sweden, and is currently pursuing an MA in clinical mental health counseling with a specialization in music therapy from Lesley University in Cambridge, Massachusetts. She's also going to be presenting authentic voice work at the Wave Makers Conference 2024 for the International Sound Therapy Association, September the 20th through 22nd. Stephanie currently resides in Bloomington, Indiana, and you can hear her work on SoundCloud under Starseed. That's www.bragaro.com/Starseed Healing, Music, and Massage. Stephanie, it's so wonderful to have you here. I'm so excited about this.
Thank you, Don. I'm so excited to be here and to join the community. It's 2024.
I love it. So one of the things that we were talking about before is the authentic voice work. And I said, exactly how would you describe it? And you said, it's yoga of the voice. Is that correct?
That's my quick answer.
To me, it explains everything you need to know. It's yoga of the voice. And how wonderful is that? Because yoga is not just the physical movement of the body, it's the evolution of the soul. And so what you're doing is helping to evolve the soul, if I'm not mistaken, through using the voice.
It's the body, it's the breath, it's the voice, it's the expression of the spirit.
So let me ask you, where's your creation story? How did this come about for you and why?
It's really my own healing story. I was going to Indiana University and they didn't have, I had to build an individualized major program in expressive arts therapies because, and I'm going to date myself, but in the 90s, they didn't have, there were very few schools doing expressive arts therapies. So I thought I was just like making it up.
Oh, you were?
Yeah, it's all the collective unconscious was saying, "Hey, it's time for this to come through." And I was singing with a cappella group, Vita, that was she was started by Maura Smiley, folk singer, and I was going through so much of my own healing process through singing on a stage, and realizing that I had a lot more personal work to do, and I was dancing, modern dance, doing yoga, so many different kinds of arts, and experiencing so much healing through the expressive arts therapies modality, along with somatic healing, massage, yoga, movement therapy, that I really was putting it all together through the voice, that voice work was or is a psychological way of healing, and it not just healing, the psyche, but bringing us into altered states of consciousness. And I started having experiences that would bring me into altered states of consciousness through singing with drumming. And at the time, I, was married to a drummer for 25 years, and this is what happens when you're married to a drummer. You learn about states of consciousness through rhythm and drumming, and all of the principles that I learned and took from, that method. Now I applied it to voice work and singing, singing rhythmically, and having flow experiences through singing and rhythm. So I just kept growing and growing and seeing how far I could take that. And then I realized that this is I had simplified it down into the kind of the nuts and bolts, and realized this is very teachable. Mm-hmm. So I've been teaching it since about 2006 as, retreats and workshops.
How do the people that you work with, either through a retreat workshop or one-on-one, you do one-on-one work also, correct?
Yes.
Is there a common theme of what happens as they are doing this work, or as they complete this work? What's their evolution?
Well, they first begin, the process of having to become comfortable with being heard, because many people, most of us, are raised or have been raised with the old adage, of children are seen and not heard. I think many of these adages are changing now, or have already changed. I'm Gen X, and we were still raised with that adage. I don't think the kids of today are as much,
Right.
But also culturally, there are similar, these old adages and ways of growing up, that we learn these programs that stifle the voice and stifle our permission to express ourselves. And very much it's a permission to exist and feel like we can move through space and and express ourselves. So authentic voice work takes that back, takes people's awareness back to the body. This is an embodied approach, a somatic healing approach, and it takes the power back into the body, and they learn to connect their voice with that grounded space. And then when they begin to become more comfortable, they realize, I have a lot more creativity here. So that's the kind of the natural progression. And it does lead to people have, meditative experiences. I call it tantric because it is a growing and a building of energy that happens in music. Hazrat Inayat Khan talks about that in, mysticism of sound and music, that it's the tantric approach. This as well is a tantric approach through music.
Really incredible experience through growth through that voice experience. And the seen and not heard is certainly something that permeates through culture, and we're seeing it just over the last few years. There's a lot more of being careful of what you're saying, not any kind of political thing, but people have been canceled by speaking up, and that creates a lot of fear. And this is not taking any side, but whenever anyone has fear of speaking, just imagine what it does to your soul. And so being able to come into your authentic voice is truly, I can see, so empowering. Now, you were trained in opera, is that correct? or you trained
Yes.
with opera. How does something like your training, because you've got this wild training between the folk music and the opera, which are two completely different kinds of things, where does that come from? But you're getting it from both sides. How would you see those contrasting styles coming in to do what you do?
When I came to my voice teacher, Brenda Boozer, I said, I'm not intending to be an opera singer. And this is the music that I do. This is the music of my heart. And she said, you can sing anything. It was just a matter of learning, the anatomy of the voice and how to use your body to your whole body, to sing and to sing with, better technique. So that's what she helped me do.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it completely changed the way that I perform. That I performed. I had to retrain, completely relearn how to sing, and I didn't have a lot of the issues that I had before as a singer.
As a singer, right. So as we talk about the conference that's coming up that you're going to be presenting on Friday from, I think, 11 o'clock to 1 o'clock on Friday, the 20th, what will people get from that, the workshop that you're doing then?
They're going to learn the connection of the voice with the body. They're going to I'm going to take them through an experience where they can become aware of the body and the breath, and to connect with how the voice is an extension of the breath. The voice is an extension of the body, and the voice is an extension of movement. So it becomes more, vocalizing abstractly can become more creative when you think of it like a dance that's moving through space, sonic space, right? Because sound is moving through space and it affects it. There is an impact of touch, just like you are a massage therapist. When you put your hand on somebody, they're going to feel like, oh, their whole nervous system changes, just like when we hear sound through if somebody's vocalizing from a more grounded, relaxed, meditative state, that is palpable to the people that hear it. So I'm going to lead people through some experiences, exercises. Some will be very abstract, creative, out of the box to open creativity, and others might be, lying on a yoga mat and feel your diaphragm pressing against the floor, doing some yoga poses that reinforce the breath and the diaphragm. And then going into more meditative toning exercises, meditative improvisation. I don't teach a lot of songs. That's, a lot of people do teach folk songs, and my approach is more, let's see what the music inside you, what is there, and how we can inspire each other to bring that music that's inside yourself out.
This is, I believe, some of the most important work we can do as humanity right now. There was a great story that was told to me, I believe, by Mandara Cromwell, the founder of Vista. And she was talking about how many years ago in a monastery where the monks chanted, they took away the chanting. And during those years that they didn't sing, there was ill health and people were dying. And it wasn't until they brought chanting back that health come back to the monastery. What's here really needs to come out. And, Stephanie, I believe you're really doing some great work to really help supply that life force into people who really need it. So.
We are in such an point of evolutionary change, as you know. And I think we all need to have more experiences that tap into our own, everyone's evolutionary self. And that means being on your own cutting edge. To me, art is the way there. Is that, to me, that is the pathway. And it doesn't have to be by singing, a traditional mantra. It's right here. It's right in here. And, when we can tap into it and feel it, and breathe it out and sing it out, that vibration is communicated, and it encourages other people to also elevate, and to be inspired at this. So when we do it together, it's very, very moving. Yeah, for me, it's magical.
Stephanie, I'm very excited that you are coming for the 2024 Wavemakers Conference in Sarasota in September. This is going to be a phenomenal conference, and you're going to be shining a beautiful light into this world. So thank you very much. I appreciate it. Stephanie, thank you for being with me. Thank you.
Thank you.